Meghan Markle here.
Alright, today is February 11, 2026. It is 4:15 a.m. There is a lot going on Twitter, a lot of videos, TikTok videos, different reaction to either the Super Bowl, the Epstein file that's going on. I think majority of the thing that I have, the leftovers and the Epstein files. Okay, I don't even think I'm gonna be able to finish all of them. So let's get started before it's 6 o'clock. And I saw some comments under my last recording. I haven't had a chance to really take my time to respond, but I'll try my best to respond to some of them. There's one that I saw making reference to Pope John Paul II. I don't think I said he is involved. I think I saw a picture, if my memory served me well. I think I saw a picture of him, and I think I brought up the issues with the thing that's going on in the Catholic Church with, how do they call them? Those young boys, altar boys being molested and things like that. Okay, so I went on Google and asked Google, does the Catholic Church has issues with altar boys molestation? The answer is yes. The Catholic Church has faced extensive, documented, and worldwide issues regarding the sexual abuse of minors, including altar boys by clergy and religious orders. That's what came to mind when I said that in my video. Okay, so I'm done with this issue. I don't think I say anything about Pope Jean Paul II had anything to do with it. I think I saw his picture and I said, oh, Pope Jean Paul II. But I didn't say he was involved. But I did say the Catholic Church has issues with child molestation. So there it is here on Google. Okay, I'm done with this. Just in case I don't get a chance to respond to that comment. Alright, so this is not to point you out or anything like that. I quickly look at the response and I didn't really process it or anything like that. I don't think you put timestamp. I just don't have time. And I'm not trying to call you out. I think I'm going based on my memory of what I said in the video, and there's my confirmation of the issues with altar boys and clergymen. Okay, so that's that. This is the first tweet. With their statement, pedophile protectors Prince William and Kate Middleton only made it worse for themselves, and I like that. Andrew Loney about Prince William and Kate Middleton's statement, quote, it just isn't going to cut it with the public. They did know. The royal family. Okay, it's 2 minutes and 19 seconds. Let's listen. Screenshot, okay?
Andrew Loney, author of entitled The Rise and Fall of the House of York. We finished 20 minutes ago, and out has come this statement. If you're just tuning in, I'll tell you exactly that Andrew and I were talking about how the pressure on the royal family is going to grow, and you said, and I thought you were spot on, that there's a bit of a power struggle going on between King Charles and William, who wants to modernise, wants to look ahead. Charles is and hasn't said a lot. Is that out of loyalty for his brother? I wrote it down. You said the problem that is Andrew has been covered up for years. Well, in the last half an hour, Andrew, the Prince and Princess of Wales have broken ranks and announced from Riyadh via their spokesman that they are deeply concerned by the continuing revelations and their thoughts remain focused on the victims. Your initial response to that, my friend?
Well, I'm glad. I mean, people have been calling for this, and there's been a lot of stuff in the papers this morning. I think this is a slight distraction. I mean, of course, one's thinking of the victims, but I think what they need to be open about is actually what the palace knew and when they knew it and what they've done. Because I think what we do need to do is to find out exactly how Andrew has been protected up till now, and I think continues to be protected. I don't think we've got the full story of what happened in the flight from Royal Lodge and all that. So I think we just need a little bit more openness about actually what's been going on and why they didn't address this problem much earlier. The line is they didn't know, but I do know that they did know, and they were briefed many, many times by, for example, the heads of the Foreign Office, MI6, all sorts of people were giving them information.
Giving them as an entity or individuals, my friend?
Well, certainly the monarch's private secretary, I know, was being briefed, and I know that they would have briefed the monarch. So, I mean, I just know from my own research that protection officers have always had to report back to the head of Royal Security, and that goes back up to the sovereign. So, I mean, they had plenty of information coming in, and so they knew about this. They've tried to keep it quiet. They now, because of the public outrage, have had to do something. But I think just saying that I feel sorry for the victims isn't really going to cut it with the public.
A couple of things came to mind. First of all, I've seen some other videos where I think Charles is going out and about, and within the crowd, one person calling out Charles, how much did he know? And then you have the crowd booing the guy who's asking question. So I see this as a problem. Because if the public don't see the problem with what's going on with the Epstein thing, that is a huge problem. So which means there's a possibility the monarchy might stay. If this is the way the public is taking this kind of savagery that's going on with children. The other thing as well, with the amount of pressure that they're putting on the royal family and how much involved that Andrew is in, if the monarchy wants to stay, I could see where they throw someone under the bus and to shut his mouth. Okay, I don't want to say the word, but the same way that I thought Betty went, they could easily do that to this person because he's too much involved. And the third thing that I was thinking as he was talking is that I think the Queen knew all of this were happening, and she didn't do anything to stop her son from continuing that behavior. But instead, she rather pay off for the person to shut her mouth instead of putting a stop to the cause of the problem, the foundation of the problem, which is her son, who's have the urge to be involved with minors. Okay, so that's that. They also upset that they forgot to hit the Sussexes. There's a laugh here. That was hilarious. This statement put out by KP is self-serving to William, so he won't be asked uncomfortable questions by the media that doesn't cuddle him. For too little and for too late. All right, there's more comment. Let's move on. There's a lot of videos I need to share with you, which I have not listened, but I was very curious to hear what they are saying. Next one. There's another one here. This is from Sky News. Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor appears to have shared confidential government documents with Jeffrey Epstein, while serving as a UK trade envoy, reports. Who's this person here? Tom Cheshire, data and forensic correspondent. Oh my God. Police say they're looking into the claim, which are based on emails from the Epstein files. Andrew denied wrongdoing. The other thing, as I'm reading this caption here, one thing that crossed my mind is that we need to be very careful if we're going to war, because if our own people on top who we trust to keep our secret, I'm not from the UK, because the same thing is happening in the US as well, but that pretty much, what I'm about to say is pretty much apply to other countries whose its own citizen that were giving trust by the public to keep our respective secrets remain secret, and then our own citizen within our own country were willing to sell those secrets as a country as a whole with their respective countries, let's say the UK and the US. We need to be very careful before we go to war, unless, they attacked us. We need to protect ourselves, but not to initiate any war like the US is doing. I mean, so many branches. Trump is in trouble, so he doesn't care. So that's, I'm done with that branch of issues. But he could initiate to go to war so he could remain in power. But the key thing here is the people need to be very careful to not be for war. Okay? FOR, for war. Because if we have our own who's willing to sell our own secrets, when many of our own citizens who probably were spies, who risked their lives to get those information and things like that, and then we have people on top who's selling it to whoever. As a citizen, we need to be very careful to not go and start war with other people, because our own were the ones who were willing to give the secret, sell the secret. What each of these countries, respective countries, the US and the UK, need to do is to clean house within. Not civil war, but the people who betrayed the country when the trust was given to them. These are the people we need to look into. Okay? Because we gave them our trust. We gave them our tax money. And the US as well. Okay? When we pay our taxes, it goes to the federal government to take care of that money, take care of whatever, street cleaning, pay our federal employees, you name it, wherever the money goes. But for the UK paying tax or to go to the royal family and things like that, these are the people who are betraying us. So in each respective countries, the citizens should look into cleaning our own house instead of the country going to war to keep these people in power. Okay? But anyway, I read the caption. Let's listen to him. It's 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Police are assessing new claims about Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor as a result of these emails from the latest Epstein files. So, what's this all about? Well, for a long time, Prince Andrew, as he was known back then, was a trade envoy for the British government. In one email from November 2010, Andrew appears to have forwarded government reports to Epstein, only minutes after they were sent to him by an aide.
My God.
Please find the attached visit reports for Vietnam, Singapore, Hong Kong and Shenzhen in relation to your recent visit to Southeast Asia. This appears to be when Andrew was staying at Epstein's house in New York. And then there's this one, sent by Andrew to Jeffrey Epstein around a month later. In it, Andrew attaches a confidential brief around investment opportunities in Helmand province in Afghanistan. He says, I'm going to offer this elsewhere in my network, including Abu Dhabi, but we'd be very interested in your comments, views or ideas as to whom I could also usefully show this to attract some interest. Andrew was forced to step down as a trade boy in 2011, mainly as a result of his ongoing relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, who was convicted in 2008 for child sex offences. We approached Buckingham Palace for comment. Now, they don't handle Andrew's affairs anymore, but they did back in 2010. And Thames Valley Police have said they're looking into these new claims. We can confirm receipt of this report and are assessing the information in line with our established procedures.
God.
Andrew denies wrongdoing, and we don't know how confidential, how sensitive these reports were. But bear in mind that Peter Mandelson was forced to step down from the House of Lords and faces a police investigation after claims that he forwarded government information to Jeffrey Epstein.
That's a huge betrayal. And when they were penning Andrew against Harry, and then they're calling Harry a traitor, who's the traitor now? This is insane. The UK is not even my own country. It's appalling. You trust this person to go and talk to whatever, and then he quickly automatically goes, I don't know, give it the information to someone else. This is insane. I don't know what the UK is thinking. Why they're not upset? There's no comment. Let's go to the next one. There's another video from Sky News. This is crazy. Alright, so I guess this is the guy from Not My King. Occasionally, I don't trust him, but I don't know why I don't trust him. But occasionally I give him a side eye, because there are times I think he's just one of those base holders for the monarchy, pretend to be not for the institution, but It's just my crazy thinking, okay? I'm not saying he is, but occasionally that crossed my mind. Alright. Next tweet. At Sky, Sarah Jane Me asked the CEO of Republic Graham Smith about the royal family's drop in popularity. An exclusive YouGov poll for Sky News found 82% of people said King Charles should encourage Andrew to give evidence in the US. But they're not upset with the institution as well. I'm surprised they didn't find anything about Charles as well, because at one point he traveled with a bag full of cash. Or maybe they were conspired, they were tag teaming. Andrew get the information, and Charles, because Charles is next in line, they won't question him, and then they pay Charles the money. Who knows? They probably were tag team. That's my opinion, okay? Oh my god, this is long. 5 minutes and 34 seconds.
In front of a camera, in front of police officers, in front of US authorities. But in terms of this silence, do you think that is damaging? If we saw more openness, if we'd seen more openness early on, do you think we would have seen this kind of massive drop in popularity? Do you think they could have handled it better?
Well, this is the problem that they're in, is that if they remain silent and continue to behave as if they can keep everything under wraps, it will continue to damage them. If they are open and honest, it will damage them even more, because I think there are an awful lot of secrets. I mean, if you look at what Andrew Lowney says just about Prince Andrew, he says an awful lot that he's not put in his book, there's an awful lot that he hasn't yet published. There's plenty of anecdotal evidence that there are other things that have happened behind closed doors. They are one of the most secretive institutions in the country. Historians have compared them unfavourably to MI5 and CIA. They're outside of the scope of the Freedom of Information Act. They squirrel away lots of official documents into their family archive in Windsor. It is pretty impossible to get straight answers from them, and they will not answer questions unless they are, soft soap answers about some charity or something they're involved in. Their whole attitude is they do not owe us any answers. And even now, in this huge crisis, we don't see them answering questions. They simply walk past and ignore them, and instead they get their staffers to put out some pretty weak statements, hoping that that will be enough. So, they are really trapped between a rock and a hard place, because, openness will cause untold damage. More secrecy will continue to drag this out and raise huge suspicions and more anger.
Yeah. 82% of people asked in the YouGov poll commissioned by Sky News would like to see the King lean on his brother to give evidence to police. I think, a lot of people would think, again, they're just allegations, but any information that he does have about Jeffrey Epstein may be useful. But your organisation actually reported the former Prince Andrew to police over allegations he shared sensitive information during his time as trade envoy. Thames Valley Police is the organisation in question. They said that they're assessing these claims. Have you had any update on that?
No, I mean, the way that I've had this conversation with police before, unless you're a victim or a witness, then they don't have any obligation to come back and update you. But, this is the issue with this whole business about Andrew giving testimony to the US Congress. I'm sure the US Congress would like to hear more about Epstein, but he's not a witness, he's a suspect. The allegations are against Andrew, and that needs to come first. So that is why the police need to deal with this. I mean, I did report Andrew to the police yesterday on the allegations that he shared confidential information with Epstein. And I did that because the information came out through the BBC, I believe it was, over the weekend. And I could not see any difference between those allegations against Andrew and the allegations that had surfaced the week before against Peter Mandelson. But last week, I reported Andrew to the police in relation to the 2010 case where a young woman was allegedly trafficked to Royal Lodge for his, to meet Andrew and to then get a tour of the Buckingham Palace and all the rest of it. And that has had a muted response and no reaction from the Palace.
Double standards. I should just point out, the former Prince Andrew isn't a suspect until police say so at the moment. He
is alleged to have committed crimes. Now, yes, the police haven't yet done anything about it, but the police have a lot of questions to answer as well, because they haven't done anything about this for 25 years.
You think it's been double standards in terms of the way Lord Mandelson has been investigated, and the former Prince Andrew. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. But I mean, if you look at, Virginia Giuffre reported her abuse to the Metropolitan Police years ago, and the Metropolitan Police didn't want to know. It's been reported to them a number of other occasions. I'm not aware that they have a single time have they asked Andrew to go to a police station and give evidence or to give a statement or to answer questions under caution. They have simply not wanted to know. And again, if you look at what Andrew Lowney is saying, he is claiming that the people that he's spoken to in researching his book, that there were police officers on the Royal Protection Squad who raised concerns and they found themselves bumped off the squad. There are civil servants who raised concerns and they found that their career paths were blocked from further promotion. There are questions to be answered by Andrew, of course, William and Charles, their staff, and also the Metropolitan Police, the political class who have turned a blind eye to a lot of this. They must have been briefed, at least some of them, and the civil service, because this sort of stuff doesn't carry on for so long without people knowing about it. We're now seeing how many files there are on Epstein. This would have been fed back over the years. People would have been briefed, and yet it's only now coming out.
Yeah, well, it certainly seems a swell of public opinion moving towards pressure on the royal household to urge the former Prince Andrew to come forward and give evidence.
It is extremely damaging.
I just want to say the Andrew Lowney you mentioned there, of course, is the British historian and author who's written several books on the royal family and in particular the former Prince Andrew.
Oh my God, so much. Let me read some of the comments here. Whatever is on the screen. Okay, bottom up. Public confidence is strengthened when difficult questions are addressed open. If 82% of the public want cooperation, it shows how strongly people value transparency and accountability. So this person tags Sky News. How do we know he has not? Okay, I don't know how the king can even look at perverted Andrew, never mind have a conversation with him. Again, let's not exempt Charles completely from that, because there was a time where they caught him with a bag full of cash. When the police was starting to do investigation, they drop it. So why did he get the bag full of cash? So there's a possibility Andrew and Charles work in tag team. Andrew does whatever position he was in, get the information, talk to whatever country, get the information, and then Andrew give the information to Epstein. So that keep Charles completely off of that. Now, when it's time to pay, okay, so Andrew cannot walk with that bag full of cash. That looks suspicious. So next time when Charles go and pick up the money. So they probably were working in tag team, in my humble opinion. So I think they're probably complicit in it. This is why Charles is able to protect Andrew, because Andrew knew how that was working. The same way Andrew with, the ex-wife. The ex-wife does something and then Andrew does the other thing. Oh my God. Alright, no one more than 1,640 people said that. Those polls are only ever answered by 1,000 or 2,000 people. It's not really representative of the British population of around 70 million people. Besides, Andrew arrogantly thinks he's above being told what to do by his brother. Alright, there is no draft, and Smith wouldn't know a thing about monarchy if it bit him in the backside. Support for the monarchy remains where it always been, 60% to 65%, as shown in the vast majority of polls. Alright, so that's UK thing, I don't know. But one thing that I saw, which might probably strengthen this Twitter's response, there was a group of people where Charles was going, I don't know what he was doing, but he was out and about. There was a good amount of people there. Out of that group of people, one person was asking Charles question. And the moment the guy or whoever was asking the question about the Epstein file, the group of people start booing the guy who was asking the question. So, which means a lot of Brits seems, I'm not talking about every Brit, but based on that particular video, it seems like a good portion of people are okay with it. So this is why the royal family can easily do whatever it is that they want. All you need to give them is a few time give them enough time, and then this goes away. All right, and if you are around their periphery, just pray to God your child don't end up in their hands. Oh my freaking God. Sorry, Lord, I'm using that word. Okay, let's go to the next tweet. Now, there's some videos from Jeremy Vine. Keep in mind, I'm not from the UK, and I'm not speaking for everybody from the UK. Just my humble opinion, okay? Next tweet. This caller issues a formal apology to Meghan Markle, Sussex, on behalf of the British public, and calls out King Charles and Queen for possibly knowing what Prince Andrew was up to. Quote, "You bully her for 8 years," and they continue, "said she was bringing down the monarchy, but look what Andrew has done." Okay, at least there's one person who sees the light. Okay, Jeremy agrees at the end that the Meghan and Harry thing looked like a picnic compare. He's part of the problem too, because I've seen some other videos. They all know what's going on. They knew the plan. Oh, I'm talking about Jeremy Vine. All right, let's listen. Almost 2 minutes. Screenshot.
Hi. First of all, I'd just like to start off by saying, on behalf of the British public, I'd like to formally apologise to Meghan Markle, because in comparison to what's happening now, that woman was not bringing down the monarchy. This looks to me like King Charles has to step away from the throne, because even though Andrew's done this, there's a lot of suspicion on what he knew as his brother, what the late Queen knew, what Camilla knew. She's been in that family for decades. I don't believe the Randy Andy that the press used to call him was just him having flirtations with adult women.
No.
I believe there was something more to it.
Well, I don't know.
And there was
I
like
don't
an
know.
undisclosed. But
I've just read, yeah, but let's not throw.
We don't know.
Okay, both the women say, hypothetically speaking. But let her speak, my goodness.
No, well, this...
We don't know, but he did have that title, and it's not as if nobody knew that he was precarious.
I was going to say, the book that's... Hang on, Zoe. The book that's out by Andrew Loney goes through a lot, which has been mentioned already, goes through a lot of the backstory. Doesn't talk about Andrew having sex with anyone underage, by the way, but it does talk about a lot of very, very, very bad and entitled behaviour, and incidentally, what is basically corruption in his role as UK trade envoy, which we haven't even got to yet, where he was going around the world enriching himself. Why are you defending Meghan, though, Zoe, today?
Because, let's be honest, the woman ate an avocado. She was told something by her husband, which she felt was kind of racist. She wasn't in the room, but she got labelled with it. You bullied her for 8 years, said she was bringing down the monarchy, but look what Andrew's done. It's way worse
It's a very
than
good
what
point,
Meghan ever did.
It makes Meghan...
but my point is...
Similar to what I was just saying about Harry, where when I think during his book, Spare came out, they're calling him a traitor. Who's the traitor now compared to what Andrew's doing?
Charles needs to step away from the throne and put William on, I think.
Oh, step away from the throne.
Anyway, to save the monarchy.
All right, thank you. I thought you said step away from the phone, and I was thinking, how's that going to help? Thank you, Zoe. It's a good point. I mean, the Meghan-Harry thing looks like a picnic.
And let's not forget as well, some of the headlines that popping up about William, they're making him seem like he's protecting Andrew. He probably knows as well. So, at the end of the day, from the outside, the same thing I'm saying about what's happening in the US, clean house from inside. These people don't need to get near anything about their respective countries. All right, let's see some of the comments here. What she didn't say is that the press, with palace permission, abused the Duke and Duchess of Sussex as distraction from the corruption. It was a coordinated attack. William was also part of it and arguably was the enforcer. Let's just take whatever we could get from the public, because at least they're starting to acknowledge that Meghan is not what the media wanted the people to see. Okay, I need them to leave Meghan alone. You all deny her humanity and have incited hate against her for your own selfish scapegoat reasons. The jig is up. Stop comparing her to those unethical, corrupted grifters and that royal family. Alright, so that a lot of people are saying the same thing. Okay, the ghost of Tony Benn says hi. I don't think people realize how the establishment became established. It simply stole the land and property of the poor, surrounded themselves with the weak-minded sycophants for protection, gave themselves titles, and have been wielded power ever since. Tony Benn. Which is what Trump is pretty much practicing in the US. And the MAGAs eat it up. I think now some of the MAGAs are starting to realize. I'm probably going to have different videos of today's recording because there's some MAGAs who are starting to see the light. Okay, I'm glad that some of the British public are realizing that the 8-year sustained attack on Meghan was wrong. But they didn't really have to take something as egregious as Andrew being outed and the Epstein file and the ruination of the monarchy for them to finally realize that. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, whatever's on the screen, bottom up. Okay, what is even the Meghan and Harry thing? I still don't know what they did. Okay, if they still have access to Harry and Meghan, who now have their own PR management team to speak on their behalf, the royal family will be throwing them under a bus by way of deflection and distraction about now. It's what they do. Monarchy must be preserved at all costs. That American thought she could go and change how things were done. Thinking she was going to show them all how to be like America. What the hell? Where is that coming from? This is the problem with these people. All Harry and Meghan wanted to do was do the work. Okay, I don't have time to respond. Okay, let's add one more. This is another Jeremy Vine video, and then I'm gonna do another video. There's a lot of videos I have to share with you. Tweet videos. Is that the same thing? If it's the same thing, I may not show it. King Charles has formed defending a sex offender. This clip is a reminder of how royalism is a bad cult-like religion which makes royalists ignore and dismiss the immorality of the monarchy and royal family members. See the way that the Jeremy Vine did actually recall how Charles defended a pedo priest in the past and yet manages to use this to suggest this was because Charles is so good and not evil. Presumably, he also thinks that actively influencing Vivek to deny his own son security when Charles' PR machine was on the other hand working around the clock to increase the hate and risk around his son and daughter-in-law is that not evil to the core? Alright, let's see here. 41 seconds.
The king has formed like Andrew, so I'd like him to investigate all the royals.
Sorry, the last bit I didn't hear. The king has defended Andrew, you think?
No, he has formed. He was a defender of a sex offender in 2000, the Bishop of Gloucester.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. But what is that, Cannonball or whatever his name was, yeah?
Yeah, convicted.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it was a bad one. But I mean, it goes back to that thing of whether Charles doesn't see evil because he's fundamentally not evil.
No, they're just trying to cover up for themselves and enforce.
I don't think that's good enough.
Attack.
No, all right, well, fair comment. I wouldn't want to disagree with that. Thank you, William. Tony.
The king
my God.
like Andrew, so
the media is a... Oh my God. Alright, let me read what... Okay, let me read all the comments here, and then that will be it for this video. Jeremy Vine did actually recall how Charles defended a pedo priest in the past and yet manages to use this to suggest this was because Charles is so good and not evil. So they're using the too honorable excuse again. Is that because it works so well for Andrew? Shaking my head. Low standard of journalism in the UK. Jeremy Vine can even recall a huge scandal of King Charles supporting pedophile Bishop Peter Ball after his conviction, even giving him a house on his estate and interfering with the child abuse inquiry. Cannon and Ball are a showbiz duo. That was the poorest excuse I have ever heard from Jeremy Vine. No one believes that about Charles. Charles is not evil, as Jeremy Vine is the lost marble. Funny how he forgot about Mountbatten. Please. Charles doesn't see evil. He's not a moral man. As I'm reading this, I'm thinking the portrait of him that was released, the red portrait and things like that. But anyway, this is it. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share. If you want to support this channel, there's a PayPal link and a Cash App link in the description. You could donate. Those who have donated, thank you. Alright, so I'm gonna do part 2. I'm gonna start with this. Just look at the estimate revenue. Okay, haven't changed much. Alright, so this will be the next tweet video that I will start in my next recording. Alright, we're gonna start with that. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for watching.
It is a great privilege to be with all of you today.
You know, we ask for forgiveness and please come back.
As you saw me find the love and happiness that I'd hoped for all my life. You are all in this together, and if I may speak personally,